Hi all, welcome to another video. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to look at how to create a mega menu such as this. It's quite a simplistic menu, but I didn't want to do anything too convoluted. I just wanted to go through the basics of how to actually create it. Now if you've already created a drop down before, you're halfway there because that's basically all it is. With a bit of placement and so on. So let's get into it. Basically, once you've got this box, you can put anything you like inside it. So just bear that in mind. If you're looking to make a menu that does something else, then like I say, once you've created this box, you can just use it, treat it as any other div. Just put anything you like inside it. But anyway, let's get on. I've created a mega menu folder, and inside there an images folder, and inside there I have this dopey looking dog who I'm using here. That's the team. Wow, there is no hope. Anyway, let's close that and that, and as usual we're going to create the, don't know why I did that capital, index.html, and also a styles. And if I put that in the images folder, styles.css, I have a feeling I have. Let's move that out, move that out, close the images. There we go. Now we're ready to go. So up here, let's just zoom in. We're going to put the exclamation and then hit tab, let it fill everything out for us, save, open with live server, and over here you'll see it's open. So document, let's change that, make a menu example. There you go, that'll do. Right, let's close that for now. Also, we want to link to that style sheet, so link tab, put the name of the file in there, which is that one, and we will be using also a, let's see, CDN.js I think it is, for Font Awesome. Yeah, let's go here. Let's grab this link here for Font Awesome so we can use the icons, and let's add another link tab, and in the href just put in that link, and there we go. Then we do obviously want to go to Font Awesome, icons, and I'm going to search for chevron down. There it is. Right, we'll come back to that in a bit because we'll need that here. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is actually show you how it's all structured. It might make a bit more sense when we're doing it then. So the main container, the menu container, is going to be the bar that spans the width. I'm not sure if you can see that there, but and then inside there we're going to have a nav which will center, and then inside there we'll put the logo on the left and the menu on the right, and that is basically how we're going to set up the top bar. Now I won't dive into what's happening in the sub parts of this because that's just going to confuse things at the minute, so let's get on with creating just that. So we're going to start off by creating a container. As I said, I'm going to give it a class of menu container, so let's do that, menu container, and in there we're going to create a nav, and that is where it's all going to sit. So within the nav, like I said, we wanted the logo, so let's just note this up. Logo, I know it's fairly obvious, but and then under here we're going to put main menu like so. Within that logo div I'm going to add an A tag, which goes nowhere in this example because we're not actually really linking anywhere, and I'm going to put the NTW Geeks fill, save. Let's go back over here and you'll see it there. Okay, so that's the logo. And now main menu, obviously we want an unordered list, and we're going to give that a class of main menu. So the menu which sits over here is what we're putting in here. So we've got 5 items here: home, services, careers, portfolio, contacts. So let's do that. LI, and there's 5 of them, and in each there is an anchor tag. And I'm going to hold the control key while clicking inside these quotation marks and put hash, because like I said, I'm not going to be linking, but you would put your links in there to the pages. Home is our first one. What was the second one? Services, the important one. Services, careers, portfolio, and contact. Save. Go back to here and you'll see them there. Another thing I do want to add, in fact I'm going to do this part now and then I'm going to comment it out, and I'll tell you why in a mo. Because within the LI for services, that is where we're going to put the sub menu, the mega menu. So let's do that. We're going to call it mega drop down. So let's create a class mega drop down, and in here is where I'm going to put my 4 columns. So that's going to be UL, the class of mega sub menu, and there's going to be 4 of those. So let's just do that, and in each of those I'm going to have a H5. In fact, we'll have to type this out. H5, there we go. Within the first one, if you're curious what we're doing these, the headers. We're just adding the HTML at the moment. Now I've forgotten what they were. Websites is the first one. Applications, second one. Let's spell it correctly. What's the fifth one? Fourth. Wow, third one. Data. So let's put that in. But that has got 2 in. It's got data and access. So H5 access. And the final one is the team. I'm going to leave it there for now, and I'm also, like I said, I'm going to comment that out, so we're just left with this, so we can style it so it's a bit easier to understand. And I do want to go to Google Fonts, and I'm going to go to fonts. You can search Poppins in here and select. I've already got it over here, but I'll do it anyway. Poppins, and then you click on it, and then close that. Pick the styles you want, or if you don't want. So I'm going to be adding 500 because I want that for the headings in the submenu, and various other ones. Then you click this button. It tells you there what you're downloading or linking to. then hit the import, copy what's between the style tags, go to your style sheet, paste. There we go. Let's get rid of that. To use, I'm going to apply it to everything, because I'm going to use it throughout the web page theoretically. So asterisk means everything, and I'm going to say font family. I've done it again, haven't I? Let's go back. I could just type it out, but I want to show you what I'm doing. Google Fonts. Google Fonts. You hit the import button. Here it gives you the rule, so you can just copy that. It's got a fallback font of sans serif. Should Poppins not be available. So anyway, we can close that now. And then the usual reset. So padding, we're going to remove all default padding and margins, and box sizing to stop any unwanted array adjustments. So if you apply padding inside an element and that element has a size, then this will make sure that that element stays that size and the padding doesn't push it and make it bigger. So if you get what I mean, let's do body. Inside the body we want to say height 100 viewport height, and width is going to be 100%. I want to set a min width of 4150. So because if we go any further below that, then the logo and the menu may clash, overlap, whatever, and it'll just look ridiculous. Right, background. I'm going to apply a gradient here, so we could go to a CSS gradient generator, such as this one. Mess about with this, do whatever you need to do, and then you'll get the CSS from here. I've already done that, so I'm going to copy it from where I have it off screen, paste, save, go back, see that's my gradient, but I'm going to add background size cover, save. But if you go below 1150, you'll see the scroll bar appear because it's 1150. And if you move over, then we get this a repeat. And if you put in there background repeat, no repeat, save, then it's just going to do that, which you don't want either. So to get around this, we want to fix the background to background attachment and pick fixed, save, so the background doesn't move. So you can move around. As you can see, the menu disappearing at the top left, but the background remains the same. So otherwise that could be annoying. So next, anchor tags. I want an overall setting for all anchor tags, and I want them all to be a colour of 717171, and I don't want any of them to have the underline, so I'm going to move text decoration by saying text decoration none. Save, go back, and there you go. Can't really see them at the minute because it's on the wrong background, because obviously it's going to be on the white bar. So I'm also going to say actually LIs list style none, to stop the bullet points showing next to each list item. You couldn't see them there anyway because it was would remove the margin and padding, which means they were off screen, but it's just a little reset. So main container, let's sort that out. Main container. We called that menu container, didn't we? Let's go up. Let's just fold that up out the way. So, menu container, which is basically the bar. I mean, I could have called it bar, I suppose, but anyway, menu container. We'll give this a display of flex because we want to place the items inside of it, and align items center and justify content center. So horizontally and vertically, whatever's inside it will be centered, and we are going to do a width of 100% so it spans the whole screen, and we're going to match the min width of the body with 1150 pixels, and we're going to give it a height of 70 and a background color of white smoke. Save that, and there it is. And as you can see, it is centered, but because it's only 70 pixels high and this is taller, it's gone off the screen along with the logo. It's up there somewhere. So I also want to apply a box shadow to this, so let's do that. Box shadow, I'm going to say 0x, so left and right x, there's going to be 0. I'm going to move it down 2 pixels, and the blur on it is going to be 7, and the colour is going to be a red, green, blue alpha, so it's going to be 000, which is black, and 0.5, which is 50% opacity. So there you have it, or transparency, whatever. So now we can move on to the nav inside. So we go to main container nav. We need to do a display of flex on this as well, because we've got things inside there, the logo and the menu, which we want to space. We're going to do this by saying flex direction row, just to make sure they are in a row next to each other, and align items center, so they're centered vertically, and justify. This is where we put space between. So any space in there that isn't taken up by an element is put between any elements. But that won't work until we actually give this nav a width. And I'm going to do it 80%. And the min width I'm going to add as 1000 pixels. And the height 100% of the container. Save, and there you can see, let's bring that out there. Okay, so if we just inspect this, there you go, the nav is 80% of the menu container, and all available space is put between the elements. So we're pushing that to the left and that to the right. Now these aren't in line because we haven't done that yet. But we do want to do, on this we want to position of relative, because when we add the drop down we want to position it relative to this. We want to make it 100%, so it's going to be the same width as that nav, which you can see here. Okay, so that's quite important. Otherwise, if we don't put that, and when we position, it's going to be positioned absolute to the body, because that's the next one with a position of relative. So the logo, which is an anchor tag, I'm just going to change the font size of that to rem. There we go. So now we can do concentrate on the main menu itself. Let's just note that up. Main menu, top, so we know which one we're talking about. Let's go back and see what we called it. Main menu, there you go. Top main menu. Okay, so now we are concentrating on this because it's the unordered list. Okay, so what we want to do with this is display flex again, because we're going to be positioning the things inside of the container. We want to do the flex direction again of row. So there you go, they're next to each other. We want to align items center, which is vertically, so they'll always be in the middle, and also the same for justify content center. Okay. Give the width property of auto, or value of auto, sorry, and again the height is going to be 100% of the container it's in. Let's say you won't see much difference yet, but let's have a look in here. Do you see them? So we've got the menu, the main menu, and all of the list items are vertically centered and centered horizontally as well. But because we've got a width of auto, then the width is only as wide as it needs to be to contain those things, so you don't really see that come into play. So let's do the actual LIs, and because we only want to concentrate on these list items and not the ones that we will create in the submenu, we're going to use the chevron operator, the more than, main menu, and this means the immediate child only. What we're going to do, we're going to give them a height of 100%, save. As you can see, they are a height of 100% now. Okay. And transition, because the background color is going to change and we want that to transition rather than just pop. We're going to do that on the background color over half a second, like so. Don't worry about the text being at the top, because that's the anchor tags, which we'll get to now. Main menu, LI A, and then we're going to do the same again. Display flex, save, align item center, justify content center, like so. Obviously we need to give it a height, otherwise that's not going to do anything. Height 100%. There you go, it's moved down now. I want these all to be uppercase, so I'm going to say text transform. I'm going to pick uppercase, save. Also want to use that 500 weight of the font that we font weight 500, like so. If we go back to the top of here, you'll see that 500 was included in our selection when we went and picked our font, so that's where we're using that. So what else do we want to do here? Let's give it some padding so they are reasonable to look at. I'm going to say 0 top and bottom and 30 left to right. 0 top and bottom because it's already placed in the center vertically, and save. and there you go, looking a bit more like it now. Right, you'll have noticed over here that we've got a little chevron, and as I said before, we've used this CDN to link to Font Awesome CDN, and we want to use this chevron. So let's click that to copy it, go back to the HTML, and after services, just paste it in, save, and there it is. So we want to style that. So main menu, we want to say list item AI, because that is an I tag. It's just this here. So what do we want to do with this? I want to make the font size a little bit smaller, say 0.8 rem, like so, and then push it away from the text a bit, so margin left, text 10 pixels. There we go. Okay, I want to add the hover effect to the LI. Reason being is because when you hover over it and then it shows the submenu, the effect will remain on the LI. So let's do that. Let's grab this, copy, paste, add hover to the end of that, and then just simply change the background colour. What did we change it to? I think I've got one over here, which is B2CADD, like so, and there you have it. So that's the top bar done. So now we need to concentrate on this, showing this that we haven't actually created yet. Well, we have, but we've commented it out, haven't we? So let's uncomment that. And there it is. So mega drop down, that is what we're looking to do. So let's comment that. Mega drop down. Let's just divide it out a little bit so it makes it a bit more readable. Save OK. So let's grab that. Let's note this up as well. Mega drop down menu. Let's dial it up. Okay, we will obviously have to go back to this and put a hover effect for this, but we'll, like I say, we'll go back to that. So inside here, obviously we want to target it first. Mega drop down, and of course a display of flex, so we can position what's inside. Gonna make it 300 pixels high, and the width is going to be 100%. If you remember, it's relative to the nav, so it's going to be 100% of that width, but the min width must be the same. And we're going to give it a background colour of white smoke, and you'll see it's there. It actually overlaps. Well, it just makes a mess, but that's because it hasn't been positioned absolute yet, which we'll may as well do now. Position absolute. I'll show you what that does. It puts everything back, but if you see, it's in line with the left of this, and then it sort of goes over to here, and then it does all sorts of things and messes it up. So we're going to say left 0, which is relative again to the nav. Save, and there you go. Excuse the noise if you can hear that in the background. I've got workers outside making a mess of the road. Right, so left 0 and top, we want to say, well, it's going to be the same as, I'm going to put 90 because that's where it's going to start, which is there. And then when we hover over, like you saw in the example, it comes up to meet the bar. So I'm going to leave it there for a minute. So let's do border radius. I'm going to use a shorthand, so 0 top left, 0 top right, and 10 pixels bottom right, 10 pixels bottom left. Save. There you go. As you can see, the bar has got box shadow on it, so it would look a bit odd if that came up to match this and it didn't carry on that, but we risk separating them with having box shadow at the top. You might want that effect, a lot of people do, but I want to blend it into this. So let's do a box shadow, let's say 0 for the X, left to right, move it down 4 pixels and only do a 3 pixel blur, and obviously make it the same colour, but we're going to make it a bit more subtle, so we're only going to make it 20% opacity. Save. And if we just move this up, so let's make this 70, you see how the box shadow, it's very subtle, I don't know if you can even see it, but let's move this, so it sort of follows it around, which is what I wanted. If I had made the blur something like, I don't know, 20, save, you can see it at the top there, and then I would have had to move it down, I don't know, 24, and that gets a bit more exaggerated than this, so I'm going to leave it like that. Hopefully you understand. You understood that. Right, I'm going to set the visibility, actually we're going to move that back down so we don't forget, and visibility is going to be hidden by default, and the opacity is going to be 0 by default, and when we hover over the services link, then we want to transition on this drop down menu, so we're going to add that here. So we want that to apply to the opacity over half a second, and also the top over half a second as well. Save, and it's disappeared because we've hidden it. So, like I said, we need to come back to the hover, copy that, and I'm going to put it down here because it makes more sense. We're going to say mega drop down, and what we're basically going to do is take this and these and change them to what we want. So this is now going to be 70, this is now going to be visible, and this is now going to be 1. Save, and there you go. But I'm going to get rid of this for a minute because we want to be able to see it while we style it. So let's style the 4 columns inside. Did we add them already? We did. Okay, so let's go back to the CSS and let's note that up. The 4 columns, and they are called mega submenu. So each one of these is a column. So we want to take this, go over here, dot copy or paste rather. And now we want to set these out. So they're going to be 25% in width. Let's just put that in first. Be a good idea. Save. They're all spaced out. They want to be a height of 80%, so it doesn't take up the whole space. And then I'm going to put a margin around of 20 pixels. Save. And there you go. What I also want to do, if you look on this one, you'll see that there's a divider line. Again, not everybody's cup of tea. I just put it in as something to be able to show you, because some people do put divider lines in like this. I'm going to put a left border on the mega sub menu, but not the first one, because otherwise you're going to have a random line here which looks a bit out of place. So to do that, I'm going to again say mega submenu and use the not. Now this is relatively new at time of making this video, so and there is a different way of doing this which I'll show you in a minute actually. So not, so what do you not want to apply this rule to? Well, I'm going to use the sudo again and say first child. So I don't want to apply it to the first child of the mega submenu. What I want to do is create a border left 1 pixel solid. I've actually got an RGBA for this. 129 174 201 0.5 opacity. So save that, come back, go to the example, and there you have it. If I would omitted this, then as you can see what I mean now, it looks odd, so I'll put that back. So if your browser doesn't support this for whatever reason, or you're struggling, then the best thing to do is, let's get rid of that, is to take this, do exactly what I told you not to do, so it's back, and then say mega submenu, and then you can still use first child because that should be supported, and then say border left none, and there you go. It'll apply all the borders and remove that one, but for this I am going to use this one. Okay, so you've got some options there, but it's good to try and keep up with the newest way of doing things, technology. I mean, otherwise you get left behind, don't you? So let's look at headings now. So we've got again mega submenu, and they were H5s, which are these headings here. If we have a look, so we're targeting these. Okay, what do we want to do to them? Well, these will be displayed as blocks for a change. We're going to give them a padding of 10 pixels left and right and 30 pixels top and bottom, like so. Want to change the font size to 0.9 rem, perhaps. Yep. And colour steel blue. Okay. Next thing we can do is move on to the actual links, which we haven't put in yet. So I'm going to put them. I'm going to actually copy these in, because otherwise you're going to just be bored to tears watching me type this. So I've got a few links. Copy, paste. A few for applications. I think I've got 4 here for this one. I've tried to vary a bit. under data, I think I've got 3, yep. And under access, I have 2. And save, and there they are. So you can see that we're getting close to the end now. So mega submenu, and what we're looking to target. Well, these are LIs, but we're actually targeting the LIAs. So LIA, we don't have to use the chevrons here because they're lower down the chain, won't affect anything else. And here I'm going to use a different display again, which is an inline block. So if we look out, actually let's save that. So let's just inspect. The difference being, where are we? We look at the H5s, they take up the whole width of the UL. If we put these in, they don't, because they're inline blocks, they just take up the space they need to. The blocks take up the whole width of the container they're in. This is especially useful when you're doing menus like this without flex and whatever. That's how it used to be done, but anyway, inline block for those. We're going to give these padding of 5 pixels top and bottom and 30 pixels left and right. There we go. And I'm going to change the font size to something a smidge smaller than the heading, so 0.8 rem. And I want to put a transition on the padding over 0.5 seconds, and the colour also over 0.5 seconds for when we tackle the hover, which will be now. So let's grab this, stick on hover. I'm going to change the colour to an RGBA. Is it an RGBA? No, just an RGB. And 190, 18, 50, save. So when you hover over, you see the change colour. And also I want them to move, so I'm going to change the padding left. I want them to move 20 pixels, so I'm going to have to add the 20 to the 30, so 50. Come back here, and you can see that they move out like so. Now we haven't added the dog, so let's go here, image, and the source will be in the images folder. There it is, and in the alternate text let's just put team. As you can see, it's massive, so let's just quickly do that. Image, we'll say mega submenu img. I'll give that a width of 250 pixels, and do we want to give it some padding of 10 left to right, 30 top and bottom. There we go. So I guess now all we need to do is uncomment this. Save. Now if we go up here, and it should be exactly the same as this one, which it is. And that's all there is to it. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and learned something. Obviously the code will be in my GitHub repository, which I'll link below in the description. Please do leave a like, subscribe, comment. I'd like to know your feedback actually, and what other videos you'd like to see coming your way from me. I will be doing a lot more videos, not just HTML, CSS, but I will be diving into JavaScript and PHP, and general all-round web developing. So again, thank you very much for sticking this out for so long, because it has been 40 odd minutes, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.